Stop! Make the noise stop! Sorry about that, bit of a louder start to the bike show than usual, but we wanted to share Buell's exciting, if somewhat improbable news. They're back. Before we get into that though, let me just mention that in a short while we'll be having a look at the state of South African racing and celebrating how fantastically well many local racers are doing on the world stage. But first, back to that Buell, which is from a reborn Buell Motorcycles. We mentioned back in February that the remnants of Buell, after Harley-Davidson threw it in the bin back in 2009, had been bought up and there was some ambition to get it going again, without the involvement of a certain Eric Buell. I've always enjoyed his bikes. They weren't all good, but the later sport bikes I thought combined an entertaining mix of different technologies and looks with a whole heap of excellent handling. They were fast and they were fun. Let's turn the sound down and have another look at this new model, the Hammerhead. You might feel like you recognise the shape, and of course you do. This is essentially the 1190 RX that was being made until fairly recently by EBR Motorcycles, which was Eric Buell Racing. That's not to say it won't be fast. We know it will because derivatives of it have even raced, or tried to, in the 2015 World Superbike Championship. There's an 1190cc, 185 horsepower, 72 degree V-twin in there after all. It's just that there doesn't appear to be any real development, any sign of significant input from the new team. And this just released footage of the owner and chief tech guy might be well-meaning.
Introduction, I'm Jacob Stark. I've been working on bikes and Buell enthusiast for over a decade now, and now I'm a mechanical developer for Buell Motorcycles. I'm really excited to be here. I'm going to be giving you guys a look at Buell from the inside.
But this latest video of them chewing the promotional fat just doesn't fill me with a huge amount of confidence about the future. They do appear to have had some early success with drag racing and hill climbing projects, but we really need to see some concrete evidence of the many promised new models before we can get too excited, I think. To calm everything down a bit, let me share some of Honda's latest news with an announcement that there's a new Africa Twin for next year. There's not too much in the way of change, but what they're doing definitely makes sense to me. I've been riding a current DCT model this week and it has reminded me what a superb bike it is. The screen is one of the minor niggles I have with it. Even in its lowest setting, it's high enough to make me look through it, which I don't like. But they're shortening it on this new one. Good move. And the DCT, already so good at taking the whole job of managing the gearbox away from you, and in a still enjoyable way, is having some tweaks that will apparently make it even smoother and easier to ride at walking speeds. We'll be featuring this technology on a couple of bikes in an upcoming episode, so I won't blabber on any more about how brilliant it is, but it is, and move swiftly on to what could be a very popular move from Kawasaki. The Z900 RS mixes the latest tech with a simple but lovely aesthetic, influenced by the bikes that were the beasts of their time a good 40 years ago. We showed you World Superbike superstar Johnny Ray picking up his own RS, and if you like the styling as much as he does, but you'd prefer something that's easier to ride and easier on your wallet, then the Z650 RS will be music to your ears. It's not yet confirmed, but it does seem more than likely that the bike will appear in time for next year and will be based on the current 650 parallel twin in the Z650. Another entirely new model for this middleweight segment is set to be added to the range of British manufacturer Triumph. On the back of the very positive responses to the Trident 660, some of which were ours, we will soon be graced by a sport touring model that is to be known as the Tiger Sport 660. Let's stop the fast cuts of the promo video and take a closer look at the officially unofficial spy photos. The camo wrap is designed to stop us assessing its lines too clearly, but I rather like the disguise itself. It's formed by a repeating pattern of black and white Triumph logos, and if you offered it as an official colour option, I'm pretty sure you'd sell a good few. There's a taller riding position, adventure-y bodywork, more wind protection, more suspension travel possibly, yet no bash plate, and there's alloy wheels, so it's definitely a road bike. Who knows, maybe there will be some spoke wheels and knobbly tyres in its near future. Triumph is undoubtedly a busy company these days, pandemic or not. Remember that these are the same people who told us just a couple of weeks ago that they will soon be producing a competitive range of hardcore, lightweight off-road bikes for the very first time. Well, it seems that new project is not robbing the road bikes of any ambition, because after the virtually unanimous plaudits for the new Speed Triple RS, we have been teased by Triumph with some kind of sportier version. All we can see is that it's at least half faired and has a more committed riding position than the Speed, but otherwise your guess is as good as ours. Next, we have something that will probably get me in trouble with Ignition and maybe some die-hard biker viewers, because it involves four wheels. Yes, I know, it's heresy, but before you throw the remote at the telly, calm your inner Hell's Angel and appeal to your general petrol head side to spare a bit of appreciation for a spectacular tin box made by our orange friends at KTM. The GT2 is a new race car trying to prove itself in a tough world championship, in no way road legal and so in no way compromised by the distracting influence of practicality. It very much makes it a car that lives up to the ready-to-race attitude of the bikes. The GT2 is powered by a 5-cylinder turbo engine from Audi that will deliver up to 600 horsepower and over 720 newton meters of torque. All this in an industry-first monocoque carbon fibre construction that incorporates steel rollover protection to take care of its vulnerable soft orange cargo. This next bit of footage someone sent to me as a link, which is sort of what made me feature this bit of news on this episode. Something that I basically skipped over a few weeks ago. How good does that sound? There's an entire lap of that stuff at this address on YouTube. Go and take a look, because the guy who made the effort to get around the Monza circuit and then stitch the lot together also happens to be a brilliant cameraman with a top sound recording system. He deserves even more subscribers than the 500,000 he's already got. See? Wasn't so bad, was it? Surely any reasonable petrol head would give at least a begrudging nod of appreciation in the direction of the team from Mattighofen in Austria for their persistent petrol-headedness. Let's take a break and then return with a selection of proudly South African exports.